How's everyone doing? You got a new setting behind me here. I'm also using. It's not a new microphone, but I'm newly trying to use it with the phone. So if the audio sucks, please let me know, and I can just unplug it, and then it'll just suck in a different way. But I was just looking at the what came in overnight from the New Jersey drone situation. We're actually supposed to go to New Jersey in like a week, and I'm wondering what in the world's going on. But I'm wondering if it's any reason for us to think about not going. I don't know. That seems like maybe a bit much, but yeah. Good morning. Good morning. Um, I don't know if I lost connection there for a sec, or I think we're okay. Um, let's see. Yeah, I don't get how in the world they're having these hearings, and these legislators are asking these questions. The citizens have questions that I think are just sort of being funneled through the legislators, because I don't think it's coming. Um, it's not like a public hearing or anything. And the craziest thing to me, I actually made a video about this yesterday. I think that's coming out on Sunday. The craziest thing to me is that they're saying essentially we don't know who it is, or like who's doing it, or what they are, where they're from, but we don't think that they're a security risk, right? We don't think that they pose a threat. And the analogy that I made in the video yesterday was, if you walk into your house or into your apartment or whatever, and you see what you think is a person in there, and then they like disappear and they hide somewhere in the house, would you ever think to yourself, well, I don't know where they're from, I don't know who they are, but I assume they're not a threat? That seems like a wild way to work your way through that sort of situation. And I don't see how it's super different with these drones over New Jersey. The way in which that does make sense is if you know exactly what it is, and for some reason you know that it's not a threat, and so you feel comfortable saying that, but for some other reason you can't say that you know who or what it is and just name that. So, yeah. But what's on everyone else's mind today? I was looking at that. I've been super intrigued by the whole United Healthcare CEO. I'm not gonna call it United Healthcare. I really hate calling it United Healthcare, just because that's sort of I have the image of the logo in my head. It's not healthcare like that. The health insurance companies are not healthcare. I have a history in health insurance companies, and they try to position themselves as some sort of like arbiter of efficient care by way of not allowing people to access unnecessary care, right? That they're having some sort of, people are going just sort of willy-nilly having appointments and surgeries, and that does happen, but it's to such a small degree. To build an entire system based off of the extreme end of the spectrum is just a bad idea. But yeah, they're very sort of like full of themselves, in the sense of like, we play an important role here, where we don't pay doctors if they perform unnecessary surgeries or if they prescribe unnecessary drugs, and like, then that means that they have a role in deciding if that surgery or that drug is for some reason necessary. Which, even the company that I was a part of, they had doctors on staff, and they had a whole team of nurses and stuff, and I think that they legitimately tried to do a good job. But I don't know if that's persisted over time. I was with them when they were very young, and we're in startup mode, and so you do certain things then that maybe, as the weight of the industry and the system comes down on you, maybe you sort of shift over time to sort of regulate toward the median. But I don't know. Can anyone confirm if the sound is coming through okay? I had hooked up a microphone that I don't usually to this, and I think when I had done that the other day, that it came through kind of raspy, but I think I was like I was way too close to the microphone because I was unsure if it was going to pick up the audio well. And I think being further back is actually better. So I don't know if it's coming through still sort of like it's over, like the voice is overpowering the mic or the mic's on too hot, or if it's coming through okay. But I know it's not like, you know, studio level quality, but hopefully it's a little bit better than just the phone microphone. But yeah, how's if the audio is sounding good? That would be good to know. Just looking, there's all these time lapse videos coming out now on these, what some people are calling UFOs, UAPs. Some people are just calling them drones over New Jersey. There was one crazy one that I saw. It's just so hard to know. I feel like Joe Rogan when I'm saying this, though I guess he doesn't realize it till after the fact. But I'm like a proactive Joe Rogan. I don't know if these images are just sort of like doctored and, so that they can get clicks and likes and whatever. But there was this crazy one that I saw last night about somebody who lives on an ocean front, which we were at the New Jersey ocean front just a few weeks ago. Yeah, like maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. Yeah. And I didn't see anything, but I also like wasn't out at night. But there's this crazy image of these sort of like orb-looking lights, um, you know, in mass, like a bunch of them coming up from the ocean. And you don't know if they're coming up from the ocean, if it's just sort of like this is when you can see them on the horizon, but they're coming clearly from over the ocean toward land into New Jersey, and it was wild to see. Again, if it's real, right? That's always ends up to be the question these days. Oh, I can check to see if this audio is coming through. If I pull up the feed on my laptop here for a sec. To see if this audio is coming through. If I pull up the feed on my laptop here. I guess it's okay. If it doesn't seem okay to anyone, let me know. But yeah, that's the one with the drones that just seems wild to me. I guess people are calling like New Jersey Police Dispatch now, and dispatch is dispatching New Jersey Police to calling 911, and just everyone's saying they don't have any answers. FBI, military, White House. Yeah, I don't. Apparently, they're saying it's been happening for several weeks, like back into November. I feel like I just started hearing about it in December because had I known about it in November, I would have definitely, when we were in New Jersey, I would have gone out at night and tried to see something. But yeah, I don't know if you folks have any thoughts on what those New Jersey drones or UFOs or whatever are, but it is quite crazy to me that they're asking all these questions and the answer is just yeah, we don't know. And then the follow up to the answer of I don't know is also we don't think it's a threat. I don't get it. If you don't know what something is, how do you say that it is a threat or not? It just makes it feel like it's clearly not the truth, right? That not that the threat part isn't necessarily the truth, but probably if anything, this assertion that they don't know what it is the truth. Yeah, but between that and Luigi, I feel like that's been my most read information this week, which has just been yeah. Otherwise, muddled with crazy home stuff, but that's another story. I have been. What did I pop over here? I have been reading. If you've seen my Twitter or my Blue Sky. I've been putting out some quotes from this Thich Nhat Hanh book that I got. Actually had to have it shipped in from a neighboring library or from a library in the state. It's called Present Moment, Wonderful Moment by Thich Nhat Hanh. And it's all of these short verses for doing like really everyday mundane things. So let's say like watering the garden. So here's a verse that he has for watering the garden. So the idea here is while you're watering the garden, he's like, here's a verse that you can think that will bring mindfulness to that task. Water and sun green these plants. When the rain of compassion falls, even a desert becomes an immense green ocean. He has another one. Actually, I think I like this one better. Dear plant, you are not alone. This stream of water comes from earth and sky. We are together for innumerable lifetimes. So he has a bunch of these. I put out one last night on drinking tea. He has a great, actually I didn't read a section on walking meditation. I probably should, just because I had previously done a walking meditation, but I think he has a few different ones. But I had done the one that is yes and thank you. So I'm reading that. That's actually due tomorrow, so I'm going to have to part with it, and then I'll probably re-request it because I'm not finished with it. It's a short book. It's a really easy read. I'm just going slowly through it. And then the other one that I'm reading right now is called Lagom, Lagom, which is a Swedish word. And the subtitle is The Swedish Art of Balanced Living. And I've, over the last, 3 or 4 years, have become a little bit, I don't know if obsessed is the right word. I've been very interested in Nordic culture, especially as I've been exploring things in the realm of, mindfulness and happiness and balance. And being that those Nordic countries, you think of Denmark, Sweden, Finland, and Norway are often ranking at the highest level or all very close to the highest level on the happiness survey, happiness scale, year after year. I thought that it would be interesting to just learn more about their culture. And so I read a book on Finnish culture. I actually read it twice, and I had some dialogue back and forth with the author, actually, which was really cool. And then I've read several books from the CEO of the Happiness Institute in Copenhagen. His name is Mike Viking. And then this one is on Swedish. There's got to be something out there on Norwegian, like modern Norwegian culture and how it sort of fits into this picture, but I haven't come across that yet, but I'll need to look that up. But yeah, this one is all about balanced living, which I feel like the Danish stuff is sort of in that same realm too, where it's like just sort of like cutting out the excesses, which like in the U.S. like excesses are so dominant, and there's like extreme wealth, extreme poverty, and then I feel like we're just told decade after decade that the middle class is dwindling, which may be true. And if so, that middle class is that sort of balanced portion. And so, but there's a lot of stuff on everyday things, like not withholding like treats from yourself and making sure that you're spending. There's a lot of stuff about spending time with community and family, and I feel like that is just sorely missing in the U.S. I feel like it was already maybe under a bit of strain, maybe a bit challenged as it was, and then when COVID hits, I think that it really kind of amplified that even more. But it's tough to find ways to do it. I've put out before a bunch of ideas that I've had on different things. I had an idea, which I could still do, about growing like an herb garden. So where my house is situated, it's on a corner, and the one road leads to a bunch of the other houses in the neighborhood. And so there's a lot of traffic on that road. And so I had thoughts, like really soon after we moved in, I was like, oh, what would be really cool here is to put like a little garden plot in the corner, right? So it's on the edge of like my little road and the main road, and grow like a really cool herb garden. When I used to live in New York, I used to go up to the cloisters, which is this old like nunnery kind of thing, and they have a herb garden there, like a medicinal herb garden, and I always loved going up there and just sort of sitting in it. The space is just really like peaceful and serene, and obviously like wonderful smells and stuff. Right, there's like basil growing and lavender, and it was just a nice place to be. And so I thought if I could replicate something like that, and put like a nice bench there, and then put up a little sign that's like, free herbs, pick your own herbs, something like that, and just let people, if they want to come and they want to like decide to get some fresh oregano, fresh basil, get some lavender, have the bench there. So if they just want to sit for a moment and like enjoy the proximity to these wonderful smelling herbs, I thought that that would be a really cool thing to do, like for the community. That's maybe a little bit different than the like tiny libraries. We have a few tiny libraries in the neighborhood, and those I find really like informative of the neighborhood. It's actually one of the reasons that we decided to move where we did was because, we saw the house and I was like, the house is okay. And then we were like driving down the road and we saw this like little library and I was like, oh, there's got to be like nice people living here, because like who's putting a little library on their property and like a bench for people to come and sit? Like who's inviting their neighbors to come in and near their space? If they're not just sort of like welcoming, nice, community oriented people. So I thought that this might be sort of a nice addition to, a similar idea to the tiny libraries. And, but I haven't done it. I tried to do it the first year and I couldn't get anything to grow. One, because I hadn't sort of brushed up on my gardening skill yet. To which I'm not still like, master gardener, but I'm definitely improving. I got stuff to grow this last year. And also that space just wasn't conducive. It wasn't set up well. It needed some like TLC. And so me just trying to like scatter some seeds and like see what happened. I saw what happened, and what happened was nothing. Nothing grew. And so that didn't work out, and then we've since done something else with that space, but I would like to kind of reimagine what that could look like, and still think about, yeah, putting a little community space. I still think an herb garden is the right idea. We just need to carve out the space for it and make sure it's sort of like far enough away from the road where like when the snow plows come through, and when if they have to like dig up the whatever they have there, the water lines or the electrical whatever, that they don't just destroy it, because I don't think that they care at all if they need to come dig something up and you have a beautiful little garden in the way. I think that they just destroy it. So as long as I position it that way, and I might just have to do, yeah, like a bit of a raised bed or something, because going straight into the ground where I am is just really challenging. So, but I do have a whole bunch of compost that's doing really well. I have now 4 separate compost piles going. And the very first one, which I did in chicken wire. So you can go back and you can see I've done a couple of videos on the different composting that I've done over the last year and a half or so. And so I was trying out different methods, and I thought it would be cool to like share those things, in case people had different things that they could use or things that they didn't have, like just share ideas, right? And just see if they worked. So the first one that I did was chicken wire, which is pretty standard. And that worked out really well. That one's turned. I didn't do much of anything to it other than try to do the like correct proportional adding to it. And then every once in a while I'd sort of like stick it with a pitchfork just to sort of like puncture some holes in there. But I didn't do any sort of like perpetual turning it over or anything sort of more labor intensive or like scheduled than the just sort of random, I guess. Every once in a while I'd think I should poke some holes in this, and I did. And it took about, I thought it was going to take about a year to turn because it was going to be pretty untouched, but it took more like let's say 9 months. So 9 months of not really touching it, adding to it until it was full, and then I had started on a different one. Um, but sorry, I have a text coming in. Yeah, I don't know what that's about. But then the second one that I did, I put out a video on because I thought that it was a cool idea, but I wasn't sure how well it would go. So we had an old screen door from like a big sliding window that we have that goes out onto the deck, and so that old screen door it didn't work anymore and it had to go. It was probably 50 years old or something, and so I cut the screen out of the door, which was surprisingly easy. And then I took old guitar string clippings. So like when you change guitar strings on a guitar, like you'll end up with a whole bunch at the end, and you snip them off. I guess you don't have to, but I snipped them off. And I took those little snippings and I used those essentially as like twisty ties or zip ties. And I stitched the sides of the screen together. And then I put it on the ground and I put big rocks in the bottom to sort of make a little bottom. And I started adding compost material to that. And the thing that was tough with that was there was no sort of like structure to the screen. Like the screens that are in those sliders they feel sort of like taut, but that's only because they're stitched so tightly to the frame. And so when you take them out of the frame, they're just like a wet blanket, and they're just really flimsy. And so I ended up having to like put around it a bunch of wood logs to hold some structure to it, which was, I mean, it was easy. It was just, sort of like an extra step that I wasn't anticipating. For some reason, I thought it would be a little bit more rigid like chicken wire. It just wasn't. But that one has since turned to, it didn't hold very much as the other thing. Like it got full pretty quickly. But, I think it was a good use of something that otherwise was just kind of going to get thrown away. And then I did another one. Actually, I did just one of these of just a wood log compost pile where I made a circle with some, tall logs that I had, tall and wide, just big all around logs that I had. And, the thing that I wasn't anticipating there was all the gaps. And so where there was gaps, like critters would get in. I kind of expected that they'd come in from the top, but because the logs weren't sort of perfectly fitting together. So all that took was a little bit of, getting some rocks in between the spaces and getting some additional like material. So if there was like bark that I had left over or small sticks or whatever, putting it in those spaces and just sort of like filling the gaps like that. So that's still in the process. That one hasn't been active for very long, maybe 4 months or so, and maybe even less since I stopped adding to it. Actually, I know exactly when I stopped adding to it, but I don't know the date of that. But I think it was in October. So it might just be 2 months since I stopped adding to that one. And that one's been going fine. The critters like died down after I got those holes plugged, which I really thought there would be more activity of them going over the top, but for some reason that just wasn't a thing. But yeah, I thought that like possums, raccoons, deer, who knows, even the bear, that there'd be more action happening there, but there wasn't, which was good. It was a good surprise. But we'll see how that turns. It seems to be turning more slowly, and I don't know why. But I think maybe now that I'm realizing that it's only been 2 months since I stopped adding to it, maybe I had in my mind that it had been active for longer than it has been. So maybe it's just that. And it hasn't actually been that slow to turn, that I just need to hold up. and wait for it. I'm just trying to see if there's anything else going on that's interesting on like Reddit or Twitter. My Reddit is so old that I mean, I'm sure there's people who have much older ones, but mine is 15, maybe closer to 20 years old. Um, and there's just so many things that like I don't pay attention to anymore. I need to go through and like redo all of my subreddits. Like just get rid of the things that I don't pay attention to anymore. What in the world is happening? Oh, I bet they're coming to give us oil. That's what's happening. I was like, who's in my house? Is it a New Jersey drone? If it is, I assume that it's not a threat. For no good reason at all. But, yeah, that scared the crap out of me. I don't know if it didn't scare the crap out of me, but it was confusing. I don't know if you can hear it, but it's sort of loud. Yeah, that's the one unfortunate thing. We have a fireplace, which I try to make use of as much as I can. But otherwise, for the moment at least, we, took on the house with an oil tank in the basement, and we have oil. So we'll get that sorted out over time. But only so many things you can do. So here we are. Just wondering if there's anything, since there's nothing interesting jumping out to me about the other stuff we were talking about. Wondering about any of the stocks that have been putting videos out about. RVPH trying to make a little bit of a comeback in the pre-markets. RGTI doing the same thing. They're down almost 20% yesterday. Anything else? Archer, at least for the time being, trying to wipe out yesterday's losses. What about our buddy SoFi? Oh, you know what I was wondering? Actually, I'm going to do a video about this on an upcoming Walk With Me video. But I've been thinking for a while, and I thought I should just put this out as a video and see if it gets any traction. We see I get major traction on my videos, right? But I have this wonder if someone like CoffeeZilla would be interested or willing to do like a deep dive, an investigation, if you will, into Chamath and the whole structure and the whole history of everything that went down with IPO A through IPO F, when I guess he finally gave it up. But that whole SPAC situation, which feels like as close enough to crypto spammy, or at least questionable as like crypto is, that it might be interesting in CoffeeZilla. I don't know. But yeah, I'm going to be doing a video. Maybe I'll record that video today and put it out like next Monday or Tuesday or something on the Walk With Me playlist. But it would be really interesting if CoffeeZilla would do a deep dive, try to unpack all of the nonsense around the, like just the chaos of the SPACs as they started to like just really blow up in, I don't know, when would that have been? 2021, something like that. I know that they had a longer history and they go back quite some time, but there was sort of this thing where it's like, Bitcoin existed for a period of time, and then all of a sudden there's all this chaos surrounding the crypto space, right? It's not like just these sort of like more sort of on their own island kind of things, right? Like the mass starts to come in, and it just feels like a bunch of greed starts to come in, and then it's like, oh well, if we can make money off of releasing a SPAC and then de-SPACing something, and whether it sort of is whether it should be public or not is maybe a secondary or a tertiary idea or consideration. But yeah, I wonder if CoffeeZilla would be interested in some investigation into Chamath. I would be more than happy, even with no credit, to help do the dive and the research on that since I have a little bit of a head start. I thought about doing it myself, and I don't know that I have the time to do it. Partly because I know that I don't have like the chops to do it. So I don't feel that I couldn't do it because I don't have the chops to do it. I feel that it would just take me longer. And so yeah, I think I could, but I can't imagine when it would ever work out that I would have the time to sink into it. But yeah, I'm gonna put that video out because that would be pretty interesting to me. Um, Speaking of D-SPACs, I wonder what SoFi is doing today. Yeah, but all of those IPO-A through IPO-F, what a mess. What a mess. Oh, thanks, Anja? I'm not sure how you pronounce your name, sorry. I hope you have a great day too. I think I'm off to a pretty decent start here. I got coffee, and I got a little chat going. I got the tree. I got my Thich Nhat Hanh book here. I got my book on Swedish living here. Have some water. I mean, we're good to go, right? What could stop us on a Friday? Yeah, but I don't know. Anyone else have anything on their mind? I feel like, well, I've definitely been just rambling the whole time, but that's sort of what I expected. I was hoping something more would come out from this, like, New Jersey drone situation, something more about Luigi. Like I had said earlier on, this is mostly what have consumed me in the last week or so. And yeah, I am set to go to New Jersey in about a week or so. And if the stuff is still happening, I'll be interested to see, um, yeah, if we sort of encounter anything or if I can snap photo, video of anything. Um, I don't know. I think much of it is happening in northern Jersey, but I know that there's also all this stuff that's coming out about things coming from over the ocean, right? And so if it's coming from over the ocean, then it's not happening in northern Jersey. So, but I'm not going to southern Jersey anytime soon, hopefully. But like I had said earlier, I was there just a few weeks ago in southern Jersey, like in the Jersey Shore, and I wasn't aware of this story then, but apparently it was already happening in November. I just hadn't heard about it, which is really unfortunate because I would have gladly gone out and looked. I was right on the ocean, so I could have, gone and checked it out if there's anything coming out from over the stormy seas. Um, yeah, I don't know. Other than that, I hope everyone is sort of gearing up for a nice weekend or a relaxing weekend or whatever. Um, I feel like I'm losing my voice a little bit because I've been doing so many videos lately. And I need to record a few of these walk with me's later today so that I can get a jump start on next week. But I definitely appreciate you all hopping in. If you watch this on the rerun or whatever, and you have ideas for future lives, I'd be really interested in any ideas for future lives. I need to fix StreamYard somehow, figure that out, because I can't do stock lives right now because I can't get StreamYard to work. I don't know if anyone out there uses StreamYard, but I can't get it to recognize anything anymore. It used to be fine recognizing my microphone, recognizing my camera, and now it's no matter what I do, restart things, unplug, replug, make sure that they work, right? They work. Um, the microphone that it's saying it can't recognize is what I'm using right now. Um, Actually, as is the camera. And so yeah, I don't know what the deal is with that, but I don't even need the camera to work to do StreamYard because I would just be broadcasting my screen and having the charts up and doing like live trading charts. And I would like to do them, but I need the microphone to work. I can't do anything if the mic's not working. It'd be really silly to, I don't know, just point to stuff with my cursor. And yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think if there was another way to do it, and I really can't. I really can't think of another way to do it without, yeah, having the share screen and the microphone working. So just know I'd like to do that. I just need to figure out what's going on in StreamYard that it is not recognizing the microphone when YouTube is, when quick, the hell is it called? QuickTime is. Other apps that I'm using are definitely picking it up. So yeah, I don't get it, what the situation is, but yeah, if you all have any other ideas, I know that we cover a lot of different things on the channel as a whole, right? I have the Walk With Me playlist, which that playlist in and of itself is covering things all over the place. But yeah, if there are any lives that you'd be interested in that have to do with any wide range of things, social stuff, true crime stuff, historical stuff, philosophy, mindfulness, Zen Buddhism, Hinduism, yeah, or I guess just sort of like broadly like religious stuff. Anything that you find on here, meditations, any of those things that you can clearly see on the channel that I'm interested in, yeah, please just let me know. Drop a comment here or on a different video. I try to do the best I can to keep up with those. And, I don't get a ton of traffic, so it's not that hard to. But yeah, just let me know, and any input there would certainly be helpful. All right, folks, so I hope you have a great day, a great weekend. Whenever you're watching this, I hope that you are enjoying things, and I'll see you next time. Bye.